Rev up your engines!
Mark Knight says, my buddy's looking for a car under $9,000. What do you recommend? Well, it depends what kind of a car he wants. If he wants a super dependable, nice car, get a used Camry or a used Lexus. They can run forever. You take care of them. You know, those are really nice cars. Well, standard old transportation, you can get a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic. Those things can run forever. But, you know, it depends what he wants. Maybe he wants a big boat. He could get a good used Crown Victoria, a Mercury Marquis. Those are decent cars used. They can last a really long time. Well, it depends on what he wants. Riri998. Scotty, should I buy a new Jeep Renegade for 45 grand? Sure, and then I'll sell you a bridge in Brooklyn, too, if you want. What a waste of money. Those things are piles of junk. You'd be throwing your money down the toilet. You tried to sell it when it was 4 years old. You'd be lucky if you got 15 for it. Those things are endless money pits. Don't buy one of those. If you really want a Jeep, get an old one that's been fixed up. 70s or 80s. Those things can run forever. But the new ones, they're endless money pits and their values drop like a stone as they age. Daniel says, Chevy Camaro, V6 or V8. Everybody wants a Camaro. They want a V8. Nobody wants the V6s. The V6s are worth nothing. Now, if you're talking about buying a used one and you don't care about speed, you can get the V6 a lot cheaper than the V8. If it's in decent shape and you don't plan on doing burnouts and going to the drag strip, go ahead and get a V6. You can get a much better price on it. But if you like driving a car, you're going to keep it for a long time, you're much better with the V8. They're stronger. They last longer. That's just what the Camaros are known for, V8s. The V6s would just suck on them so they could sell them cheaper. T.A. says, Scotty, Toyota just sold the 10 millionth Land Cruiser, which makes it one of the 3 best-selling SUVs of all time, together with the RAV4 and CR-V. What do you think? Yeah, the Land Cruisers are great vehicles. Now, lately, their sales in the United States has been garbage because Toyota, they make a lot of money making cars. Trucks isn't their main business. The original Toyota Land Cruisers, I believe, had a Chevy 6-cylinder engine in them. They're not really a truck company. They don't sell that many of them. The Toyota Tundra, the big V8 pickup truck, is a great truck. But compared to Chevy and Ford and even Chrysler, they don't sell hardly any of those big trucks. It's not their market. Now, the Land Cruisers are great. They love them in Australia, Saudi Arabia. I mean, they're great vehicles. They never really pushed them all that much in the United States. They're great vehicles. Of course, they're a big, giant vehicle. They're tremendous gas hogs. They get horrendous gas mileage in town, but they can last a really long time. You know, I've had customers that owned them from the basic old ones that were 6-cylinder with a standard transmission to the modern giant V8 ones that have, you know, all the yuppie cup holders and they take the kids to soccer games and stuff. But they never sold all that many of them lately in the United States. They didn't push it where the other companies like Range Rover really push them, spend a lot of money in advertising on them. Alrighty, Colton says, Scotty, is a 1970 F-150 reliable? It was very reliable back in 1970. Today, they can be great vehicles. They have solid frames. If the frame's not rusted and everything's in good shape, they can be great vehicles because being a Ford, all the parts are still readily available. You can still get parts for those things. And you can put in rebuild engines, rebuild transmissions. You can drive those things forever. You can make them extremely reliable. Now, it's what? A 50-year-old vehicle today. So you might have to put some money into it, but they can be extremely reliable vehicles. And if you want, you can put modern day engines in them too. A lot of the stuff's going to fit. Ethan actually says, Scotty, what do you think about Tesla's Semi that's supposed to be released in a year or so? Okay, now we're getting into commercial vehicles. Commercial vehicles are a completely different ballgame. Around the turn of the century, my grandfather used to work on electric trucks. It was in Niagara Falls on the shredded wheat factory. Commercially, they were more viable. They used regular old car batteries in them, big old batteries, and they had to recharge them at night. But they liked them because they were electric motors with a gasoline motor and explosions. Weed in the towers and stuff. It's a powder. It can blow up, so it's safer having electric motors instead of gasoline ones running inside the factory. Doesn't pollute the air like gasoline engines, so people don't get carbon monoxide poisoning. And with the commercialization of electric vehicles, if they can get them long enough range and they work, sure, because it's commercial. When a truck gets to where it needs to go, they can have a gigantic charging station there where they can plug it in and maybe recharge the batteries in an hour or two. It makes sense commercially. For the average millions of drivers out there, no, it doesn't make sense yet. But for that, it could definitely make sense. Double Dog Addict says, bought a 2001 Lexus ES300 with only 71,000 miles for $6,000. Did I pay too much? Well, if you like it, it's a good car, you know, that's fine. But I bought the same car with 60,000 miles on it. It's a year newer, and I bought it over 10 years ago, and I paid $3,000. It was one of my customers' cars. And And I did have to pay $800 to my body guy to paint the dings and stuff that were wrong on it. 71,000 miles is nothing. Somebody originally paid like close to 40 grand for that car. You got it for 6 with 71,000 miles, so that's fine as long as it's in really good shape and you can prove it's the real mileage. Rob Hunter says, Scotty, what's your favorite car to work on? Actually, the older cars, because they were fun to play around with. Like if you've got a car that has dual carburetors and points on the ignition that you adjust and clean, and you take the carburetors out and clean them and put them on and adjust them, they were fun to work on because they weren't full of this electronic crap that modern cars have that can drive you absolutely nuts when they get oddball problems. So it would be an older car, like an old sports car from the 1960s. I like working on old English sports cars. They were simple, cheap. You could get parts cheap for them. And yeah, they broke down a lot, but they were fun to work on. And I was working on them for other people, so they paid me. And they were a lot more fun to fool around with. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.